Welcome to the Real Joe Show. Super excited about this episode. We have rock star Tiffany Hampton on board to talk to, and we're going to be discussing her phenomenal efforts in social media and how that ties into working with her sphere of influence. So stay tuned for a great conversation. All right, we've had that music, right?
Yeah.
Tiffany, thanks so much for coming on board. I appreciate having you on the show.
Yep.
It's been a while. I've been wanting to invite you, but until we had these nice digs, I didn't want to let you down. So here we are.
I love it.
So Tiffany, tell us about your experience getting into real estate, how you got here, and when did that happen?
So I am so much of a cliche, I was watching HGTV and House Hunters, all those things. And I was already in social work. I was a social worker for 9 years. So I liked helping people. And I always grew up loving houses, like interior decorating, that aspect of it, houses in general, it always caught my attention. So because of that, I was dedicated to getting my real estate license. I got my license in 2016. I had been wanting it since 2006, but we experienced a little crisis in 2007, 2008. I had kids right behind that, so I kind of waited till I kind of grew up a little bit, and then I got my real estate license 2016.
So how many kids?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids?
Yes, 16, 14, and 11.
Ooh, busy.
Yeah, busy.
Busy. So that's something else I want to talk about too. Remind me, how do you juggle all that, being a mom and a wife and all that, tie it all together?
All right.
Well,
that's the whole show, Joe.
I know, it is. That's true too. That's true. So you've been it since 2016, so you're 7 years into this?
Yes.
And what has been your trajectory? Like, how'd you get started? What was your first method of doing real estate and starting to build your business?
So when I first got into real estate, I jumped on social media kind of immediately, just kind of announced it to my family and friends. So I got my real estate license. I posted my actual, when I passed the test, I was like, I passed my test. I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to be a realtor. So I started posting that on social media, and then word of mouth. I would just kind of run into people and I'd be like, hey, I just got my real estate license. So those are the 2 ways that I was kind of getting the word out. So the first year in real estate, I was not an overnight success. It took me a long time to get my first piece of business.
That's not unusual.
Yes, I am not. So it took me probably about 10 months to get my first sale. And I had 4 back to back at that point. And I was like, oh, this is great, because I was a social worker. Remember, I was a social worker. So didn't make a whole lot of money being a social worker. And I made those 4 checks back to back. And I was like, wow, if I just do 4 more, I'll make more than I make at my job.
Right.
So I was excited about that. So basically, I got on social media. I always say I'm an early pioneer of social media because I jumped on 7 years ago. So at that point, I didn't have a lot of business myself, but I would work open houses. I would just say, I'm working an open house today. I did anything to show that I was doing real estate. So I would go tour model homes for new construction homes. I would talk to the agents there. I was learning all I could about first-time home buyers, the programs that are available to them, because I was really into the lending side of it. Because I know for me, I had some credit issues when I first bought my first house, and I knew that was something, maybe a struggle that many people had.
Sure.
So because of that, I started doing all the classes I could on that and posting everything I was doing on social media. So people always saw that. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm showing this house today. Now I was showing the house to me, but I was showing the house today. I was like, fake it till you make it.
Right. What's behind the scenes? They don't need to know all the time.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, great. So things started to work out, and social media became the main.
Social media became my main focus. So the first year, so again, I got 4 back to back, and all those were friends and family. They were all friends, people I worked with, people who went to my church. And they were impressed. They were like, oh, I see that you had an open house the other week, or I saw you had this. So I started just making sure that I focused on showing everyone, so everyone can know I was doing social media. So I turned to Instagram first. That was the one and that's still my social media platform of choice.
And let me ask you that. Why your choice?
So Instagram is a great way for you to meet strangers without actually meeting them. So I can do a lot of rapport building on Instagram by showing me and my personality, right? And I don't have to know the people. They can follow me. I can follow them. It's kind of like a peekaboo into each other's lives. Facebook is a little different because those are your friends that you already know, right?
Mhm.
But Instagram is good because literally for the first 2 years of my business, I probably was 50-50. Like 50-50 were friends and family, and 50-50 were people I had never met ever
Really,
before
that's
in
strong.
Instagram.
Wow, nice.
Yep.
Nice. That's unusual.
It is. It is. So my second year, I did 18 transactions. So 9 of them were friends and family. About another 9 were directly from Instagram. Like people would literally reach out to me on my Instagram platform and in the direct messages, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw your video." I did a lot of educational videos at that time as
Mhm.
well for first-time home buyers. And I chose first-time home buyers because when I was getting my license, I used to hear all the more experienced agents. Actually, when I first got into my first firm, I used to hear the experienced agents say they hated working with
Right.
first-time home buyers.
It's such a fun thing to do.
It is. It is. I actually still love it to this day.
Absolutely.
But people would complain about it because it was a lot of hard work. Like you had to do a lot. It's not like you could just show the house and they knew what to do. I had to explain the process from beginning to the end. And as a former social worker, I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was a lot. It felt like what I did before.
Right.
Just educating people about, real
it's-
estate in general.
The reality is, even if a buyer is not a first-time home buyer,
Yeah,
they probably haven't bought a house in 6, 7, 20 years.
exactly.
So you still have to re-educate them
Every time.
every time.
time.
And a lot of agents don't.
Yes.
So
and so I
it's
continue to
dangerous.
still do that. I continue to still educate because you're right. I'll have people when if they were a second-time home buyer or whatever, they'll say, "It's been 7 years since I bought a house. Can you remind me of
Right.
what this means," or all that kind of stuff. So I pretty much do the same thing for everyone I work with. But I took the advantage of social media to kind of put it out there, to tell tips on first-time home buyers, what you need to educate on actual terminology. So what's a pre-approval? What are closing costs? What are, actually breaking it down in baby steps on what people needed to do. And I started giving credit repair tips because I had, like I said, I had did some classes through the realtor. They had different classes. And so I did those things, and I would really push them out on my social media. I was showing them the affordable housing in the area. So I'm not taking tours of model homes that are $600,000-$700,000 at the time. I was taking tours of homes that were priced in the low 200s. I mean, you can't find those now, Joe.
That's right. Those are gone. So how long you've been in the business?
Exactly. But back then you could actually get a brand new 4-bedroom house for $250. So I used to take tours of those homes, stuff that were in the reach of first-time home buyers. And then it really just kind of helped me get the traction of people to be like, "Oh, she knows what she's talking about from the beginning to the end." So that kind of helps.
So 2 things have come out of that. Well, the first one is your first mix was 50-50.
Yep.
Where are you now with your sphere of influence and brand new people that you've never met before? How's your mix?
So I would say now I'm probably about 80% referral base because I've serviced over like 125, 150 families.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. I would say 80%.
Isn't that awesome?
I know. I'm always so amazed.
Cool.
I'm always so amazed myself. I'm like, wow. I'm a real life real estate agent. Like, when I got into it, I didn't know I would do this well. So now that I'm doing well, I'm like, wow, this really worked out.
And it's not just you did those many transactions, you've helped many families
exactly
get ahead.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And that was, and I would say at least 70% have been first-time home buyers. So
that's great.
My mission to get in and to educate people and to get people into their first homes was achieved. Like that has been definitely my niche market.
And first-time home buyers tend to grow out of that house, and they're going to need to sell and buy again, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
All right. So now you're more your 80% sphere of influence, referral-based business.
Yep.
Has your messaging changed online?
I would say I'm 50-50. So now, of course, trying to get more listings. So I'll kind of target like things that list, if you're trying to sell your home, things that you're supposed to do that. And then I still do like a lot of education. I do a lot of education in general. So I'm always giving like the facts, the raw facts on what exactly you need to do to purchase, what exactly you need to do to sell. That's always my my baseline. But I would say I'm probably 50-50 on educating the buyers and educating the sellers. So it hasn't changed much.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's smart. And have you done other, when you came over to Relevate, you came over for a couple of reasons, and one of them was your workload.
Yes.
You needed that break from working crazy hours, right?
Yes.
And that goes back to how do you juggle the parenting,
exactly.
being a wife, and
yes.
going on date nights, I hope, still.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
So how do you juggle all that? That's the big one. It's a good sized family. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it was a lot of work. So for years, I was an independent agent. I would hire transaction coordinators, someone to help me with the paperwork on the back end. I did that for about 3 years, and it just became a lot. It became a lot. So because juggling 3 kids and I was missing events and all that kind of stuff, I would, still getting some family time in there from time to time. And then I found Relevate. I was able to have like people who could actually show houses for me. Of course, that's the heaviest. Like when you're doing 45 transactions a year, showing houses that could be a full-time job. That could be 40 hours just by itself.
Right.
So having someone to actually be able to open a door for me, to be able to allow my clients to see however many houses they want to see without it coming down to what Tiffany has on her calendar to do that day, has been wonderful, like a breath of fresh air. So now, of course, since I've been here, my work, I can say my work-life balance is amazing. But before it was rough. It was rough juggling 40. I was super burnt out as well, because at that point I had been doing it I just got here March 2021. So I had been doing real estate for about 5 years and by myself. So it was a lot, because I always felt like I had to have my phone right here and I couldn't miss anything. Right. Now with a CSM, client service manager, I still keep my phone to a certain time, but now my CSM can help me kind of balance the load of making sure that I'm responding to my clients. I always tell my clients in my buyer's consultation, I'll always respond to you within 24 hours. If by text, it most likely would be quicker. Right. And I always say that. So with the CSM, I don't have to keep my phone in my hand 24/7 anymore.
That's right.
I can kind of make sure that my clients are being taken care of and getting their questions answered. And my CSM can get to me if it's something like dire emergency. We can take care of it immediately.
Great. That's awesome. And as far as your other activities,
yes,
you've had you based everything, a lot of what you're doing on social media. What else are you doing now to help even create more referrals from all that?
Yes.
activity?
So I did Sphere of Influence. So I'm doing stuff with them, pop-bys, notes, thank you cards, happy birthday, happy anniversary, all those
Were you
things.
doing those prior?
I was not.
You were not.
I did not start doing those until I got to Relevate. Luckily, my clients just liked me, because I was still 80. I was still about 80-20. So they still liked me. And it's because all my clients, one of the things that they always say is like, you always treat me like family. I can tell you really love what you do. I can tell that you really love helping people. So that's one of the things that just kind of saved. But I would say the other things that I do social media. That's one of the big things I do. And I'm starting to do a lot more networking events and like appreciation events for my clients. Great. So those are the things that I kind of dabble into. I'm going to restart. Prior to COVID, I was doing a lot of first-time home buyer events. I would do them at least 4 times a year, like once a quarter. And then when COVID came, it's kind of like everything shut down and I was just working.
Right.
But I love the appreciation events. I love first-time home buyer workshops, because it's more of that's kind of what I love to do, like talking to people, educating people in real life, appreciating people.
Yeah, relationships are everything. Right?
Yeah. And I could tell the difference between when I was in COVID and working, and now that we've kind of come, not that COVID, I know it's still here, but now that we're open up, I don't have to wear a mask sitting beside Joe. Like I can just feel like my energy has kind of revitalized. And so I'm really looking forward to doing those type of things again.
Yeah, that's nice. It's good to be coming back to life in that way.
Yep.
So let's talk about Instagram. That's your favorite. You're on other channels as well.
I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, business page, and I have Instagram. And I am dabbling in TikTok. But I haven't really done a whole lot of stuff on TikTok yet.
Yeah, I know it's all the rage.
It is
I actually had it for a little
rage.
bit. I took it off my phone
Right.
because I was just wasting too much time. It's entertaining.
It is. It's entertaining. And that's the hard part about social media now. So when I first got on social media, those things weren't big like they are now. So now it's like, not only do you have to be a realtor, but you have to be able to juggle 3 cats while selling a house. And you have to be able to dance like Beyonce.
There you go.
You have to look like her too.
So let's talk about your look in Instagram. Let's focus on that because it is your favorite.
Yep.
And I encourage everybody to go look at your channel.
Yep.
And what I like about your posts on Instagram is that they're all you.
Mm-hmm.
You have. They're very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
They're stylish as heck.
Thanks.
You know, you can see your shoes.
Yes.
In those. You should see your shoes.
You should see my shoes.
You should see your shoes. It's you, and it has your brand all over it, and it's not like a fancy brand. It's just you. You're your brand, and it shows through on your posts. And I'm assuming that's very intentional.
Yes.
And
yes.
So how do you, for those who are trying to figure out the best way to do their Instagram and put that package together, that message together in a simple photo, or how do you go about doing that?
Yep. So a long time ago, I had learned through some social media stuff that I was kind of taking years ago, is that you kind of want to create a theme, right? Mm-hmm. So from the firm that I came from, my motto was God, Family, Real Estate. I still live by that creed. So I try to make my Instagram page those things: God, family, and real estate. So that's basically what I do. I keep it really simple. And as far as color scheme, you definitely want to stick to some sort of color scheme just to make your page look very cohesive. So when people come in, it just looks impressive without them. Like, it's not much that I do other than just making sure that it sticks to a color theme. And as far as posts, I think it's always important to be as authentically you as possible, because when people meet me, people always say, you're exactly how you are on Instagram. People tell me that all the time. They're like, you act just the same like you do in your videos. And I'm like, yep, I'm just me all the time. Because there's things that people are going to connect with you that only you can offer.
So there's a risk doing TikTok, because then you're going to have to start dancing like Beyonce.
Then I have to start dancing like that.
When you meet them.
Now, I can. I'm not Beyonce, but I can dance I can dance. But I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I just feel weird with marrying the two.
Yeah,
it's weird. So some people can do it great. I see some people who do a great job doing it. But for me, it doesn't feel authentic for me to do it. So I haven't really delved into that. But I do have, a good sense of humor. So there's I had a video that I did with my daughter that actually did really well. And she was my client and I was the agent. And we were just doing a transaction, and I was trying to get an offer in before 5:00. And so that was a really cute one. Right. You have to check that one out. But that one was a really cute one, that it was kind of me being a mom,
right,
but at the same time being a realtor, because I had my daughter. At the time she was 9. So she was cute. She was in the video. She was acting like a client. It was super cute. But that was authentic to me because that's who I am. I'm a mom. I'm very involved with my kids. I actually coach our basketball team.
Nice.
So it's just authentic. Just do what feels authentic to you. And Instagram, the good thing is people gain rapport through that. So you being you, people are going to be like, wow, I like that person coaches basketball. I like that person, because that's, especially with first-time home buyers, that they're looking for someone who's relatable to them.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of wraps up everything I wanted to talk to you about. Is there anything that we've missed that comes to mind, or something you want to add?
No, I think I definitely think social media at this point, in in realtoring, you have to have some type of social media presence at this point, because people can Google everything.
That's right.
So make sure your Google page looks visible to people, that everything's clean, you have your correct email, phone number, stuff like that. And then even if you do start, I think Instagram's a good one, because you get to connect with people you don't know. So it's a way to network without having to actually be in a physical building. But just make sure, just stay consistent. I would say I post about 3 to 4 times a week at the minimum. And just bring something of value, but show you as well. So at least once a week, show you doing real estate. Even if it's just showing a house and you're not really showing a lot of your personality, people just get to see you move. And I think people like that on Instagram nowadays.
And you do a nice job of telling the value you bring to the clients too.
Mm-hmm.
How you made their world a little bit better too.
Yes, I do a lot of testimonials. Yeah, I'll do a lot of testimonials. To me now, that's been even the most important, because people now, they can say, "Oh, she helped this person, and this is how it helped their lives." Right. So I think that's
super important.
Yes.
I see a lot of agents just posting how great they are.
Exactly.
Not a lot of value.
Right.
Yes, sure, you're successful. What do you actually do to help the person you're targeting that you want to be watching?
Exactly.
Fantastic, Tiffany. Thanks so much. So Tiffany Hampton Realtor is your Instagram.
Yes.
And if you want to reach her, here's some numbers: 919-867-0377 or tiffany.hampton@relevate.life.
Yes.
Tiffany, was awesome having you on.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
For having me,
All right. We'll see you in the hallways. Let's get some music out.